Sup, guys? It's Corrupted.
And it's Dragon. We are back.
We are back. Sorry about missing last week. Had a medical thing, so we couldn't do last week. So we're here this week with Cyberpunk Edgerunners, one of the best anime miniseries to come out in a long time. Like
They're one of
it's
the most entertaining 10 episodes I've ever seen in a long time. I can definitely say that.
it's crazy how much happened in 10 episodes. Because that's what 10 episodes is 22 220 minutes, and then you cut off the intro and the outro, so 20 minutes, so 200 minutes almost even, so less than 4 hours. How much happens? That's shorter than the Dune movies,
They,
than two of the
you
Dune
know,
movies.
as always, we appreciate everybody for joining us. If you appreciate y'all for coming in, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit that comment section, share the video, man. Y'all joining us for our installation of Edge Runners, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Let's get to it, man. So, for the surprising thing about it, what Corrupted told me this morning is that this thing is based off a board game.
Well, tabletop, but yeah, it's basically a board game.
Tabletop board game, bro. That's been the fact de facto like killing my brain this morning fact that I can't just get over. Cause, bro, this is just the way they put this 10 episodes together. It's just crazy. And then to think if you, and most of y'all know this also has a game as well, Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm then dived into that rabbit hole, and it's even more immersive of a game than the show is. So yeah, man, I'm hella excited. Been hella excited to get into this game, and even more excited to talk about it here today with y'all. But man, we get with David Martinez, man, like a very different um protagonist we've had talked about so far, and versus how like he treats the universe he's in, versus even so much how he's treated. But we're definitely gonna get into that. But man, dude, like where do we even begin with him?
Well, I think the big place to begin is like how I titled this episode is how not not is in parentheses to cope with nihilism, because I feel like that's the like big thing that the show like tackles, like tries to explain, because the world of cyberpunk is horrible, but it's like one of those things that
I
is
mean,
like
very.
it's beautiful in the horribleness because you get to see like people struggle against it and eventually try to come out on top of it. You know what I mean? Like when you get to
Yes.
the end of the show, like we see somebody does triumph over like how shitty the situation is, and it's always good to see that. But like the best way to describe the universe is like it's a neo feudalistic hellscape where you basically have to sell your soul to a company, or you're just stuck at the bottom rung of life. Like David's mom couldn't even afford to pay for the dry cleaning, or it's not even dry cleaning. It's the laundry thing, the washing machine. I keep
Right.
forgetting what that thing's called. The laundry machine in their room, and you probably
That's
expect it's
crazy.
not cheap.
You just hit me with that. That wasn't. Yeah, yeah. They do make you pay for the laundry, the washing machine in your own house.
Yeah, in your own house and the toilet.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, yeah.
I
It's
missed
like
the toilet part, but I know
no, no,
you
no.
hit me with the
So
washing
that's like
machine
from
part.
knowing like the universe at large. That's from like knowing the canon of the universe. But like you don't know it from this, but from like knowing about the universe of cyberpunk, they make you like depending on what your apartment's like. You have to pay every time you get like depending on like how bad of an apartment it is. You have to pay for every time you use the toilet and every time that you take a shower in the universe, depending on where your apartment is. Like when you're like in the slums, you got to do that
See,
because
I
of
knew
how
it was
like
bad
yeah.
because no, I knew it was bad because I was noticing like the severity of the ads, like the propaganda and how serious it was. Because you're right, the world's freaking terrible. But like you say, like I knew the universe went further when we talking about how the game kind of immersing, like kept this whole universe kind of know, expanse. Like it's deeper when you actually play the game versus just watching the show. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well,
But
also like
once
I
you
like
really,
read about it because I liked the game and then the show so much that I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos that were like 10-hour explanation of what happened to the world of Cyberpunk. Like that's how I know like
it's
a
still
bunch of the
all of the
random stuff.
universe.
Yeah, like the
I have
universe,
to look
it's
into
like
that too.
it's a lot of like how Warhammer 40K is like it's so dark and depressing that it's like captivating whenever you see the characters try to like fight
Excuse me.
against it because you see like the best part of yourself in it when you watch it. You know what I mean? Like when you watch the people that can
Yeah.
struggle through like the insane impossibilities of what's going on in that
Because
world.
you, because come on, like when you triumph over having to pay every time you take a piss or a crap. I'm sorry, dude. It don't really get no worse than that. Like every time though, like every time, even if our day and age now we have a water bill and corporate, encapsulates all of that use. But every single time, bro, diarrhea must suck. But you
Mm-hmm.
might have to hold your diarrhea, bro, because you ain't can't afford it, bro.
Or like,
That-
how about
That's
the
that's
fact
that's
like you don't really know how a BD works, like a brain dance works, but it's like the wreath that he wears at the beginning of the show.
yeah,
So how it works is it lets you like how it works with how like in universe how they work is it like lets you fully experience what happens in the BD. That's why people like them so
yeah.
much. So like
Like
if
how
you
like how Doc was basically pretty much at a brothel in his BD.
yeah yeah
How
yeah
he uses her to go to the moon.
yeah so it like makes you feel like you're there with how it works. Like when
I
you
can see that
if you play the
technology being
game,
very
they
similar.
they explain it in the game really well when you meet this character named Judy. But how it works is for like just to explain it real fast, it basically tricks your brain into thinking what's happening in the BD is real. So like if something's happened, like if you die in the BD, if like you feel the death, like how they died, you feel that when you wear the wreath, which is the headset that you can watch BDs on. So like when he's in class and they go to like that tranquil little place with their BDs, that if would feel like you're in that place, or like in the moon part, like how Lucy explains that if I turned it up too high, it would fry you. Your brain would
Yep.
think that the sun was hitting you so hard and kill you. Like it would, they basically like sort
Yeah,
out
it's pretty
online you.
intense.
Like that's the best way to explain it. Like a brain dance just is basically getting first season one of Sword Art Online. Like that's like the best way I can explain it. That's what a BD does. It tricks your
Basically
brain into
nerve
thinking
gear
it's true.
execution.
Pretty much, pretty
Straight up
much.
nerve gear execution.
But it does it in like a way, in a different way, because it doesn't like latch into you anywhere. Like I know they have like the ports on their necks and stuff, but like it doesn't tag in there. But it basically uses lights and sounds and stuff to make you experience it fully to the point like you see where they David couldn't tell whether or not it was real or not when he got kidnapped by the guy. I can't remember the dude's name, even though I just rewatched part of it yesterday. That part yesterday. The KD dude or crap. Who's the BD editor
Um,
on
not Doc,
Edgerunners?
is it?
No, it's not Jimmy Kurosaki. So I had Kurosaki. Yeah, Jimmy Kurosaki. Um,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I
the
remember
dude
him
that
now.
like was trying to
Yeah.
torture David. Like like it's so realistic that if you don't put yourself in the BD, you don't know what's real and what's not. That's how crazy the brain dance is. Like the system of
That's a
brain
part of
dance is.
that's a part of like how that's part of how intense cyberpsychosis was too, right?
Yes. So
Because I kind of read
cyberpsychosis is like
cyberpsychosis is
weird.
like a I kind of read it as another like intense form of like PTSD.
Yeah, it's kind of like PTSD mixed with like schizophrenia mixed with so basically what causes cyberpsychosis in the lore is it's when your brain can't take the like doesn't have enough, whether it's they don't explain it exactly if it's like computing power or what. It's just everyone has a certain amount of tolerance for how much of their body can be replaced until you go full Borg, like you like we meet Adam Smasher at the end. He's a special case. He's like 99% machine, I think now. He's a special case in the lore. That Arasaka basically spent $1 trillion turning him into the ultimate weapon. Like that's like neither here nor that. Like that's like he's special, and then David is also special because Adam Smasher had like the
Excuse me.
same resistance, like extreme resistance, psychosis, like David did,
Hmm.
and so it's basically just when the strain of that much chrome eventually just breaks your mind and it forces you into cyberpsychosis, but you can't stop using it because it feels good because of what it does to your brain with a lot of the people that go full cyberpsycho. And also, there are a handful of people who have overcome cyberpsychosis. It's not a it's not like normal stuff. Like Max Tech actually recruits uh like people that fell victim to cyberpsychosis that could get over it. Like getting over is the wrong word, but like the people that could overcome it,
Ain't
they
it?
recruit them if they don't kill them.
Because when we talk about like overcoming, because when I think about it, I think about like what David was doing. Because by the time he was, well, just to keep it in the beginning, like just how crazy he was using Sandevistan. You know, these people were all telling David that, oh, only 2 or 3 times was what he was going through, and after that, you should be seeing, start inducing cyberpsychosis. But he was going up to 8 to 10 times,
Well,
and not even really
so
going
what
into
that
like
was,
cyberpsychosis,
it
just more
wasn't
so feeling it,
cyberpsychosis. It was like
the
physically
strain.
how much. Yeah. So the Sandevistan like fucks with your brain because of how. So it's basically they drill it into your brainstem and then all the way down your spine. They have to replace like part of your spine and your nerves with the Sandevistan. Like they basically cut off like the back quarter of your spine and then drill the Sandevistan into it is basically how it
Makes
works, and then it like hooks up to the bottom of your brainstem, and it basically just makes everything like it speeds up your brain and your body and everything using electric currents. It's really crazy. Like
sense behind it.
it's like yeah, it's crazy, and that's
Excuse me.
basically like the lore explanation for how it works. Um, but yeah, it's more for that specifically. They're not talking about cyberpsychosis. It's what is there is if a normal person uses it too many times, they're just gonna fucking die.
Like not even skip the whole cyberpsychosis part,
It'll
just
give
straight
them an
death,
aneurysm.
straight death.
Yeah, yeah, that's why it's so impressive that he could use it. That David could use it that many times. Because normally the normal effect is it kills you if you use it that many times because of how much of a strain it puts on your body. That's why everyone's so impressed with him because a Sandevistan is like like you saw like only like 2 people besides him had a Sandevistan that he ran into.
Right. And Adam Asher
And
and
the giant Borg from
yes,
Maelstrom when they were on that one
yes,
gig.
yes,
That
because
like
that's what happened. He ended up going into the Sandevistan and it seen him
yeah, and then
and
he
had the
used the
same Sandevistan and was responding.
I'm trying to remember the name of the I think it's reinforced tendons is the thing that like lets you like air jump in midair. It like you store like air in your legs is like the thing that he uses to dodge the Borg's attack, and then shoots him with the arm cannon. But like that stuff, like that's how rare Sandevistan is. Like when you play Cyberpunk, like Cyberpunk 2077, you like run into somebody with the Sandevistan every so often.
Jesus.
Like it's like super rare. And like in the game, like it takes like a couple hours to be able to afford a decent one of playing. Like it's like they're supposed to be like the most OP thing, but the thing about it that's like why it made David so special is that you're not able to, like a normal person, use it like 2 or 3 times and then we'll just get an aneurysm and die, which is like super cool in my opinion. Like that's like the explanation. But there is something I did want to show off about the how I was telling you that how Max Tech recruits people, right? Cyber psychos. So this is the original E3 trailer for the game that they showed off in like 2017, and it shows this chick that went into full cyber psychosis, and Max Tech shows up. You can actually meet this chick in the game. It's a side quest, like a hidden side quest. But you see, like the Max Tech. Well, these guys aren't Max Tech. These are just normal cops because of how fucked up the city is. But these are like SWAT guys here. But this chick, her name starts with an M. I can't remember her name, but she's like one of the ways to get the best set of mantis blades in the game. Like her and then this other thing. But this is what like she's a cyber psycho. They just killed a bunch of cops. And she gets like, I don't want to say helped because Max Tech doesn't really help. You know what I mean? Like they stop them, but the Max Tech dude doesn't kill her. They're able to like get her cyber psychosis under control, and then they recruit her because she was a good enough combatant to do this. Like she killed like a Max Tech member in the lore, if I remember correctly, and then that's how she like saves herself. Is the trailer implies that they shoot her, but the dude doesn't shoot her, and then she gets recruited since she's able to overcome the cyber psychosis. So it just shows like how much the city wants to chew you up and then never spit you out with the stuff. It's the lore is crazy, dude. The like the universe that this show exists in is just fucking crazy. There's no other way that I can describe it. Sorry about the yawn. That came out of nowhere. And then the big thing though that I want to talk about with this show is that I think this show is a good example of how like the correct way and the incorrect way to deal with nihilism, cuz everyone in the cyberpunk world minus the people that become solos or edge runners or like people that climb the corporate ladder or people like Gloria and Lucy, they they're completely nihilistic. Like you see when he walks outside and walks past people, like there's people that are just day drinking themselves into comas. There's the one
You're
dude that's
just
sitting
that.
on the edge with the
Yep.
masturbator on. Like there's a dude with just a
I
flashlight.
figured that's what that was. I
Yeah, that's
figured
what
that's
that
what that
they
was.
when you play the game, they actually advertise those like on the side of buildings.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Like
crazy.
that's how fucked this world is. Like the
Because like every
cyberpunk
time,
world
because I
is.
watched, on my second watch through, when I watched back, and I noticed it the first time, but I'm like, I'm just gonna save that for the second one. And then when I seen it again, I'm like, yeah, because they kept showing it, because of course he goes the walk there and the walk back, and then you see him do that again, and it's like, bruh, because they show the same scenes when he's going through the city,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing the same thing, and he's the only different image in there, and I'm like, bruh, and they on the side of the street with that stuff. I guess it's like the same equivalent of like you be on the side of the street, you see the bum light. If you was walking on the side of the street, you see a bum light just, snort a line or something like that. You know, you wouldn't bat an eye because I guess that's the same kind of city that they in, but it's
I'd
even
say
more
their city's
crazier.
worse. Like
Yeah,
Night
I was
City,
going there.
like Night City is, especially Santo Domingo, where he lives, is it's not like it's not the poorest part of town. Pacifica's the poorest part of town, but it's like the second most dangerous because it's in the middle of a drug war, or not a drug war. Drug war is not the right word. Um,
More,
not
more
turf
so.
war. It's
Territorial.
like
Okay, not a turf
bigger
war.
than that. There's like
A coup.
it's
Like,
so
uh,
there's like normally you'd call it a turf war, but like in Cyberpunk it's like a bigger deal because the people involved. It's like there's Sixth Street, which is like a gang of retired military people, and then there's the I'm trying to remember what Padre's gang is called. That Padre's the leader of. Crap, I can't remember, but
the
basically,
clause was one.
uh, Tiger Claws are they're the Korean gang, but
Okay.
they're
'Cause
like
I was
it's
trying to
like
catch
half
them all.
Korean people, half Japanese people in the story. They're one. Remember the Wakado lady that they talked to during the job?
Yes.
She's the head of the Tiger
Yeah.
Claws, or
Okay.
one of the
That was
heads of the Tiger Claws.
was that the lady? Was that the lady that he talked to that was over the dude Julio? When
Yeah, the dude that blows
I'm thinking
himself
about
up.
the same lady.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's Wakado. She's one of the leaders of the Tiger Claws. She like runs their gambling scene, their pachinko houses. So but I'm trying to remember what they're called. The I can't remember what it
It'll come to you.
I'm gonna Google it real quick. Cause I can't believe Valentinos. That's what it's called. The
Latinos.
Valentinos. And then like there's the Maelstrom, and then there's the Voodoo Boys who live in Pacifica. Um, but basically the uh the Valentinos and Sixth Street, it's like a normal like the idea would be it'd be a normal turf war if it wasn't for the fact that every run is chromed to the point of being a bunch of Captain Americas with rocket launchers. You know that like so it's like so they're all it's
Yeah, it's
basically
not really.
yeah. You don't really call that a turf war because everyone that gets between them is like a turf war is bad,
Yeah.
but it's even worse
It's
when
pretty much
everyone's got
collateral damage. That's
yeah.
the
It's
collateral damage.
basically like a turf war. Like obviously, like a turf war is bad, right? Like the real life equivalent, but this is like a turf war in Iraq. You know what I mean? Like
Between
that's how
superpowers.
yeah, that's how Santo Domingo is basically like all the time. Like that's how like you'll see like when you play the game, you'll just see them like like remember the how Gloria dies, like the car wreck stuff, like that happens in Santo Domingo between the two those two gangs all the time. Like not just in the game, but like in universe.
I
Like
think because, bro, you hit me right now, like with because as you saying all of this, as me who's now watched the crap out of this show for the last 2 weeks, and like putting some stuff I've seen in the show to what I'm starting to expect to see in this game, it's like, bro, you really hit me right now because it's like when you look at what David was going into, it's like, bro, he was learning about all that stuff as I'm learning about it now, but except he's in it and I'm not.
but like that's where he grew up. He basically like you know the meme of Chicago should be the South Side should be called Chirac. He lives like there multiplied by 100,000. Like that's how bad like his side of town is.
See the weaponry and stuff there. hacking
Yeah,
and stuff is
yeah.
definitely
Thanks to that,
understandable.
but also like the gangs have like thousands of members because there's so many.
Yeah,
Like there's millions of people in Night City,
like
so it's
how
like it's
like how they end
crazy.
up running into small armies that's like bigger all the time in Night City in Saint Domingo.
Well, it's just this one place they just happen to be fighting over, so they like run into each other more often because so in the lore of the universe, it's like very like people don't like stepping on like the gangs like Wakado and Padre are pretty like don't fuck with each other and we won't like don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like
That
it's
cordial
very
love,
like that. I I don't
that
know if
cordial. Don't
cordials
cross these boundaries. Don't
like
cross
I
these
guess
boundaries.
cordial's
We
the
won't
right
cross
word.
yours.
It's just not the word
It's
that
their
I would
version.
think of. But yeah, yeah,
It's their version of cordial.
it's like permanent parlay for the most part.
Yeah,
Like they're
yeah,
permanently in
yeah.
parlay. But those two are like constantly like one move away from killing everybody, like destroying each other. The Valentinos and the Sixth Street. But so it's like a big like thing in the universe, which is like makes it more interesting, especially like as the deeper you go and you're just like, why they hate each other in the first place? And it's just like, who knows? Like it's crazy. But so he lives in like a situation worse than most other places in the world, like because of where he lives is like horrible. But he gets to see like what it's like to have the good life too, unfortunately, because he goes
His
to the
mom's trying to
Arasaka
put him out of
prep
soccer.
school. Yeah. But
Yep.
also like they don't talk about it a lot, but he's like number 1 or number 2 in his class. That's why they're fine with him being at the school in the first place. Is
Yeah, they
cuz
didn't focus on that too heavy. I would have never thought that till you just said it.
it's like a throwaway thing.
Actually, no, no, that is a throwaway. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it is a throwaway because his mom says it.
Like they talk about
His
him
mom
having
says
a
it in the
straight
car
A
ride, don't
school
it?
student. They talk about him being a straight A student, but I think it's when he's talking with like or like Maine's talking about him, and then like Kiwi does the background check or whatever. I believe she says something about him being
Yeah,
at the top of his
yeah,
class in
yeah,
Arasaka Prep
yeah.
School, or it might have been the dude
Look
that
at him,
works
our
for
soccer
Tanaka that says
A's.
it. It's like he
Straight
was
A's.
at
I
the
remember
top
the
of the
line
class.
though.
Like
I
it
remember
was
the
just
line.
like he's at the top of his class, and top of the class implies like valedictorian or salutatorian. So like he's one of the smartest kids in the school easily.
She when we look at because when you say how bad the environment is, and you look at, I understand now why Gloria worked so hard to send David to Arasaka because she wanted him to get up out of that. Because what she said in that car ride right before she perished was she wanted him to get out of this and have a chance in this world, in this city. And it's a lot of stuff that's now coming to me because David in of himself, like he goes into the class and all they ever
Mm-hmm.
talk about is his clothes. Um, they talk about the gear and of course that big short, the big he breaks the system with the upgrade he had.
Yeah, the back
And I think that was pretty much all
aid.
they had on him. But now it all makes sense because if you're at the top of your class, it's expectations that's gonna come with a lot of certain stuff, and people are gonna treat you a little differently. But when it came up on certain stuff like that, of course, that's how it went with Katsuo. Ain't that the dude name? Tanaka, the other Tanaka kid.
I don't
I'm trying to
remember
remember
his
what it came
name
up.
off the top of my head.
It came. I
I
usually
just
try to remember how their names come up in the call because that's how I like learned a
this
lot of their
gonna sound
names and
fuck
match their
up,
voice.
but I in my head he's just gay or Mahito. Like that's how I think of
It
him.
took, it took me a second. I had to think about how you take me from JJK, right?
Yeah, they look like exactly the same except for the one in Cyberpunk looks gayer. Especially like
Freaking, I
when
know
they
I
fight
had
in the
I hate
alley.
his voice. I hate his voice for
Yeah, I didn't
real.
like his
And that
voice either.
that little freaking little stupid little punches he did before he hit him, like, but that's just so
Yeah.
stupid,
Yeah,
so
look how
stupid.
good that
But
did you the next time when
yeah,
David
yeah,
finally got chromed. But
yeah.
like we see I, like David is just like why the fuck does it matter? Like when he has the conversation with his mom, like him and his mom talk about it,
Hmm.
he's like, why the fuck does it matter? Like, it doesn't matter if I become a corpo. And becoming a corpo, like, just to explain like how big of a deal it is, if you like get a suite office at Arasaka, it's like I'm trying to like a good equivalent. A good equivalent would probably be that would be like LeBron coming from Akron straight into the NBA. Like how rare it is that it happens.
Yeah, I see what you
It's
mean.
like that.
But also to iterate how big of a deal it was to see somebody like Faraday in the position he already had to put so much on the line to get a position, an office in our soccer.
Yeah, he had to betray Militech and do all this extra stuff just to. Oh, and also, when you betray a corporation and join another corporation in that universe, they don't they don't assassinate you. They like hook you up to a machine that doesn't let you die, and then they torture you
Jeez,
for a long
that's crazy.
time.
And last the crazy,
Not, no. It's
the
not
crazy.
like we torture you. It's like torture you in ways that we cannot comprehend because of the like like a good example is like this is what a character does to a corpo that betrayed like in the game. Just so we have a canon example. He basically fries all of his nerves slowly so the dude like boils in his own skin.
Eesh. Eesh.
Like he
That
slowly
little,
like fries all so
that little crazy.
it kills the dude
That little
by
crazy.
slowly like burning all of his nerves, but he does it slowly so he doesn't go into shock.
Of course. Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
uses the dude's cyberware, like over like hacks the dude's cyberware, and then like burns all the dude's nerves and kills him. Like that's the way that they kill like, and that's just because he couldn't do everything he wanted to him, so he just had to kill him then. So that's how he did it. Also, he did that after he tortured the guy. Like that wasn't the first, that was how he chose to kill him after he tortured him. And then like I don't know if it's him or it's a different dude. He like they use his cyberware to do the opposite of a Sandevistan for one of the people that gets tortured, like the opposite of Sandevistan. So time goes slow, like or
Okay.
like yeah. Time goes slow for you when he gets when they torture the dude. They like make the dude experience it in super slow motion, so that way he feels
That's
each
pretty deep.
individual pain for longer.
And Faraday actually put himself in that line of fire, that kind of line of fire.
Yeah,
For that like
that's like
for that
that's
possibility, it
yeah,
gets
that's how
like
big
caught.
of a deal it is to become a higher up at a corporation, that you're willing to risk that type of shit.
So yeah, Gloria's mom putting him in our soccer, getting him on that track was highly she
Yeah,
saw it as highly beneficial and she was not
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's like or like how unicorn it is. It's like how big of a deal it is to come from a street kid background to a thing. It's like it's like basically like how Conor McGregor went from somebody that had to be on welfare for a couple years to like the highest paid athlete in the world when it happened, like when he fought Mayweather. Is like it's like that big of a jump when you go from street kid to uh corporate exec. Like the lady at Arasaka, she probably gets like the lady at the end that has the really weird red and pink hairstyle, the one that ordered Adam Smasher to fight David.
Yeah, pretty much the one that told dude to go on and take that rap.
Yeah, they was like, you're the one that has to take the fall for this. You're the one that fucked it up. Like, she probably doesn't have to want for anything ever unless she gets fucked over by her boss. Like, that's like how big of a deal it is. But you always have to like look over your shoulder and make sure no one's fucking you over And like because corporate espionage in this universe happens like between, so making it there isn't the end of it either. Like you still have to work like as hard as you do, if not harder, when you make it to the corpo thing. But it's like the equivalent of making it to the NBA straight out of high school. Like that's how big of a deal it is to make it to become a corpo, especially when you come from a street kid background. Like the reason nobody else ever really becomes a corpo is because corpos raise their kids explicitly to be the perfect corpo. Like that's why it's like he's the only street kid in there, is because they're basically born and bred to become more corpos. That way there's more like the corporation has more control over stuff. And that's how fucked up this universe is that they think that far ahead, where they basically use eugenics to get more workers. If you didn't think this universe was fucked up from the like how we started off talking about it, so that's
So my
why
thing
it's
is
such a
now,
big deal.
my question is now is like, because on the flip side of all of this, once we look at Gloria, because obviously it was a lot to get in there. Because I've asked myself this question so many times. What the hell's Gloria even doing for her to be at that point? Because like the way they set it up, because like Maine and them, like they was going on jobs, but their jobs progressively got bigger. And the way our soccer was going in there, like they were struggling. Like Gloria and David were struggling. But like I think well, at this point, I think it was only because of how expensive it was for him to do what he was
Yeah,
doing in
that
our
school was
soccer. I don't think
probably
it was
so fucking expensive.
I don't think it was like they were struggling to meet ends meet like all the time. I think no, they were struggling because she was
Well, no,
putting
they
him in
would have
all the
been
soccer.
struggling to make ends meet all the time. Because if you remember, the lady that had almost the same type of job, that was a paramedic too, was willing to just immediately kill David over the Sandevistan because of how much the
Yeah,
Sandevistan was worth.
yeah.
So, like, I think they were struggling all the time. I think it's just they got a lucky break with that particular Sandevistan, and that's how she was able to do, like, at the end, where she could be like, we'll cover
Even
the
when David
price
tried
and,
to,
and stuff like
but
that.
even when David tried to go sell it, he said it was cheap when he tried to go sell it.
No, but that's because the dude had no leverage. But if you remember, he paid Gloria like up front before he ever got it, like a decent chunk of change. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can find the exact number. Let me see if I can find the exact number. Saying Deviston. Um, what's it called? It is also very rare to pay in advance in the world of Cyberpunk. It's like it's very like most people doesn't almost no one pays in advance.
all did a Gronk move.
Yeah, it's like a super
I
gonk
forgot what that
move.
word meant.
Yeah,
Gronk
gonk
move. Yeah,
basically means dumbass.
yeah.
Uh, I'm
I
trying
do
to
enjoy
find how much he paid.
their unique dialogue.
He at least paid 10K, but he also up front. Like he paid it up front, which is something you don't do. And 10K, like, so I'm trying to think of like a good way to explain it. I think I think 10K Euro dollars is more than 10K R dollars. Like if you want to put it in perspective, cause so
I would imagine so. The way that
like
stuff works
a good
there.
example is it's like closer. Like if I had to guess, it's like closer to 50 G's in real life because you can buy cars and stuff like that for tens of thousands, and then like the like Ferrari S cars are like hundreds of thousands. and then like your rent is like 1,000, but you're in like the heart of the city, and so it makes sense for the rent to be that much, sort of thing. Especially like it doesn't show you in their room, but the room also has a gun room. Like that closed door to the right in their room is like a specialized like gun storage place. Like it's like a specialized like that walk-in closet looking thing to the right on their room that they never go in the show. That's actually a vault. Like it has like a keypad that locks and everything. You learn that from the game because the apartment is V's apartment. So, okay, he's from Santo Domingo, but that's not that apartment's not in Santo Domingo. It's in I think it's Haywood is the name of it. Um because the mega building that apartment's in is in Haywood, but yeah, which is crazy. So, I want to say it's 10K is how much she got paid for it. Also, what's it called? The company that she works for is called REO Meatwagon. In case you didn't know that part.
So that was the one that they was talking about leaving for when she died. So that was the
Yep.
irony in that,
Yep.
leaving her for her
She
own
was gonna
company to come get her.
Yeah, she was gonna be there for and yeah, she lives in Mega Building H. That's the name of the it's in it's in what's it called? Yeah, it's in Haywood, which is the sub district of Santo Domingo or something like that. I don't really remember how exactly that works out. But back to what I was talking about though, with the before it got a little bit sidetracked talking about the the economy of this fictional universe. Um but yeah, the the whole thing that I'm talking about with the like David's basically like, yo, this is fucked. It doesn't matter anyway, mom. Just send me work because nothing matters anyway. We don't have the money. We just need to get through it. And she gives him the speech in the car, which I wrote down because I think it's the most important line of dialogue in the show. So I'm going to read it real quick. So he's having the whole like teenage crisis thing because he's only 17. And being a 17-year-old going through this world has to be fucking rough. Especially like it seems to get worse every year in the universe. So the conversation, he's like, "What's it matter? Like it doesn't matter, mom. None of this stuff matters." And so Gloria says, "So you tell me what have I been busting my ass for then, huh? Everything I do for you, D. Don't you see that? You're breaking my heart, Mio." And then she starts to cry. And David's like, "Wait, what?" And then she says, "My sweet baby boy, so smart, so talented, you're everything to me. I want to give you is a fighting chance at the city and a good education. That's why I put in all those hours. Why I'm never home." And David's, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up. Don't cry, mom." And Gloria continues, "Think I don't know how they treat you? Think I don't get treated the same way? But that's why you gotta prove them wrong. You have to work hard and rise through the ranks. My son at Arasaka Tower, top floor. I can just see it. You've got this, D. You're my son." And why I think that's arguably the most important line in the show, in like the entire show, is because of a quote I have said way too many times on this channel, but it's been a while since I've pulled out this quote. But I'm gonna pull it out again real quick. It's by Friedrich Nietzsche. It's, "He who has a why can bear any almost anyhow." And so Gloria has a reason for living. Like she has her meaning, and her meaning is to make sure that her son has a good life. Like that's all she wants. She just wants her son to have a good life in Night City, in a place that's it's virtually impossible to have a good life, especially for someone that grew up on the streets like she did. But she wants him to have a good life nonetheless. So that's her coping with nihilism. And David just starts to give into it when he's just like, I don't care, mom. Like school's whack. It's all whack. Everything. And then you see like when his mom gets in the accident, when the group of animals calls the accident. Animals is the name of that gang. The like
Yep.
big hulking people. They're called animals. That's just the name of the gang. That's what they're called in the like the lore of the universe too. They're just called the animals. And he gets like lower and lower into nihilism until he meets Lucy. Like Lucy's kind of the thing that like gets him back. Like the first time he's just like, okay, I got something here, and he has that conversation with Lucy, and Lucy's just like, what do you think you're doing? Like, don't you have your own dream? And like I think that's like a clever way of the universe saying like, or not the universe, but like the people that made the show understand that that's what they're doing now, is they're coming up with a way to say like you can't just give into the nihilism stuff because it's obviously horrible for you. You got to have a dream. Like you have to have something that you want. You have to have something that drives you forward. Like you have to have like there has to be something that is a reason for you to wake up in the morning. It's a reason to continue on. It's a reason to do everything. Like with Lucy, her dreams to go to the moon. It's her overarching reason for existing. Or like Rebecca, her entire reason for doing stuff is because she fell in love with David. And then at the end, when David finally like is like, "Fuck it, I know what I want now," and it's to save Lucy. His reason, like he finds the meaning, like how he's able to bring himself back out of the cyberpsychosis that he has, is just to tell Lucy like, I'm gonna make sure that you live and that you get to go to the moon. I'm sorry I couldn't go there with you, but I'm making damn well sure you can get there. Like he finally found his reason, and that's the big thing that I think is in this show is like it's telling you like Gloria had the right idea. Gloria like being like finding the one thing and then dedicating her life to do it. So dedicating her life to having her son make something of himself, come out on top in Night City. And then David chose the wrong things. He chose like how Maine did. Like, Maine
Yep.
chose
Yep. Cause
chroming
I
out,
yep.
like feeding vices
He
rather
thought
than
he
actually
thought
doing
Chrome was
something.
power.
Yeah,
He
or
chased power in the way he chased power in the same way like the people in like I would say his camp kind of felt what actual power was. What I say like the street people would probably see what true power is.
yeah,
It was
but
kind of just
I think it
force, you know what I'm saying?
runs
Because
a little deeper than that. That
no, no,
like
no,
he
for
thinks
sure, no,
Chrome is
for sure,
power. Like I think he
for
thinks
sure.
power is meaning, and that and then Chrome is power. So therefore, Chrome is meaning. That's why he refuses to, because he's like, I'm not a chump, I'm not a gonk, I'm not down. Like when his girlfriend tells him to downgrade. I can't remember her name now, but
Real.
yeah, um, but he's like, she says like you should downgrade, you're losing it, and he's like, no, I'm never gonna downgrade. The whole reason I'm here, like he explains, like I have to stay where I am now, or it says that I'm losing, because you can tell he's become obsessed with the idea that power is his meaning, like accumulating power is his purpose and his meaning. And then he realizes after she dies, like when she gets shot, saving his ass, like explicitly,
Much
like the entire reason she
verbatim.
dies, like if Maine didn't go crazy, nothing bad, like that whole series of events never happens. If Maine doesn't have a cyberpsychosis episode, because remember, Kiwi would have pulled everything off, like everything would have been fine. Like Kiwi going down, like him attacking Kiwi in his cyberpsychosis is the whole reason everything happens in the first. Yeah, and, is the reason all that stuff happens in the first place. Like, cause he beats the shit out of Kiwi. and then that forces
They throw all on Lucy.
Lucy to do it, and then that leads them to finding Lucy. But also, it's when he beats the crap out of Kiwi, it's the thing that because Kiwi was the thing that was jamming everything. So then they had to move again, and then so it all came down to his power trip basically because he did the wrong like he showed David how not to cope, and then David not understanding that that was the lesson he was supposed to learn from Maine ended up following Maine's path also.
Yep. Instead following exactly Maine's path, and then took it even further than Maine.
Yeah, well, to be fair, like the he didn't take it further than Maine out of like I'm gonna take it further than Maine because I'm better than Maine. It was he was forced to take it further than
Circumstantial.
Maine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
circumstantial.
like
But even no, even then when he had got like after like what it was episode 7, it was like even around then when he had first like got buffed up, like he had was a little bit like people was telling they'd never seen somebody chrome out as much as he did at that point. So that was essentially saying that they people who had seen Maine was saying he had more chrome than Maine at that point.
yeah, yeah,
So that's
because
what I mean by
what's it called
essentially took it further
his
than Maine.
he had his lungs replaced because we see that in a scene. His
Arms and legs.
yeah, he got Maine's forearms. His entire back instead of just having the Sandevistan parts, he has
And
more
that's
stuff in his back. His eyes were replaced with the new Kurosaki implants. That it like gives you like a heads up display in your head.
mhm,
Um, what else is there that he got? He got he's got the tendons that hold like that like suck up air and then like shoot it back out to do like a it gives you a like a gives you the ability to double jump. I can't remember I want to say it's called reinforced tendons. Like replaces the tendons and the muscle to where there's like a thing that holds a pocket of air that like can suck up a pocket of air and then shoot it out in a burst to like make you be able to jump a second time. I'm assuming he's got something with his heart to make sure that his heart doesn't go like there's like heart pumps and stuff like that or other things that exist. Like he's got all sorts of stuff. So yeah, he's probably more chromed up than Maine, depending. But we also see like he got jacked. The big question is that I want to know: did he get jacked, or are those muscles all chrome? That's something that the story never
that's a good
answers.
question.
But I feel like
I thought about that, but
it
I thought that because
implies, like
I remember
Rebecca
Maine telling him.
implies, it's because of that.
You remember when he first told Maine that he wanted his arms, and he told him he can have
Yeah,
them when he dies. And he
yeah,
told him you can't have my arms because you have to bulk up first to be able
yeah.
to use
You
them.
have to grow into them.
Yeah, so
I think that's his exact words. Is that you can't have them
maybe
until
he
you grow
did
into them.
maybe he did hit that gym for a while, or maybe he did chrome up and do
But also,
some
it's
buff
only
stuff in
like
there.
6 months to a year after that point too,
So it's a
because the
feasible amount of time.
yeah, it's not a feasible amount of time to get that big.
Yeah, like big wise, yeah, I can
Yeah,
see, but he could
but also
definitely
like there's chrome stuff,
he
like
could get
there's
some
chrome stuff
muscle. Yeah,
that gives you
that's what I was
that
gonna
is
say.
like taking steroids. Like in the
Yeah, I was gonna say
universe,
he
there's
was
like ones that like there's one that you get in your I think it's in your neck that like it makes it to where like your body can use adrenaline all the time and stuff like that. It's called adrenal something, and it basically lets
say
you
like
put on a
if
lot
it
of muscle.
pretty
That's
much
how animals get so big. There's like implants that make your muscles grow back like 3 or 4 times faster than normal. You know, like that like make you bulk up. That's how all the animals, like the animals are so big. Is there's ones that like make there's like implants that just make your muscles grow that big. So like it's possible that it's not all chrome, but at the point by the end of the story, it is pretty much all chrome though. Like because we see when he's working on him, he's got like all the metal flaps that open on like it when Doc's working on him. He's got like all the flaps and stuff that open. So by the end, it's a lot of chrome. It's not entirely chrome probably, but he's got a lot of, and he's also got implants in his face too now, from his eye. Like that's how you know,
It's
or
unfortunate.
it's easy to infer that he had uh eyes, like robotic eyes now, because those lines that he has on his face are normally what from implants that you get when you get your eyes replaced. Like typically, whenever someone has those in lore, it's because they've had one or both eyes replaced. Like you know how he has those lines on his face now that go over his eyes, like from his forehead down his face. Like stuff like that is normally indicative of him having stuff with his eyes and his brain. Like different stuff happening there, or sometimes it's like like Kiwi. Like you see Kiwi, she doesn't have a mouth anymore. It's like people get stuff like that in universe. I forgot the reason why. I think it's because they don't like eat. Like there's some people that don't like eating, and then they do that to replace it with certain stuff. So it like lets it where netrunners can stay in their chair or in the tub for longer. Different stuff like that. But also, another thing I wanted to talk about with like how David decided to do things. It reminds me of another quote that I haven't said on the channel yet, but it's another quote that I really like, and it needs a little bit of an introduction just because the quote's so powerful. I feel that like need to say like who said it. So there's a was a psychologist named Viktor Frankl. He survived the Holocaust. Yeah, I forgot if he was Austrian or German. I'm pretty sure he was Austrian. So he was a psychiatrist at the start of World War II. He had the opportunity to move to America, but his family couldn't go to America, so he refused to leave his family in Europe. So he stayed and went through. He had to go to two different concentration camps, and he used what he learned in the concentration camps to write a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And in the book, he famously says, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And that's where like the one thing David gets is he gets to choose to be like Maine. And that's like the reason that he doesn't break down after Maine dies is because he gets to choose to be like Maine. It's the like you might lose everything, but as long as you get to choose how you feel about like you might not get to choose to do the thing, you know what I mean? But you get to choose how you feel about doing the thing. And that's what Viktor Frankl's talking about. Like as long as you can choose how you feel about the thing, you can pull it off. And that's why I think the quote works so well with this story too. Randomly, just because like you wouldn't think about it, but it is kind of one of the lessons that David actually understands, in my opinion. Like he gets like he can't change the world just because like the world that he lives in is so utterly fucked. Like it's hard to describe how fucked Cyberpunk is. It would take a couple hours to just like go over how fucked it is. But thanks to Lucy, he's able to see or choose to see the good parts of that world. And obviously, like the good part is Lucy. To him, it's Lucy. But that's like the thing at the end that ends up like how he gets through all of it. And I just think those two quotes just work so fucking well with this show. I really feel like at the end credits of the last episode, both those quotes should have showed up somewhere. You know what I mean?
Not a bad observation.
But was there anything? else that you want to talk about with the show? Like, I know the show wasn't super long, so today's not going to be a super long episode just because there's not a whole lot of stuff that we got to cover like
You hit all the
normal.
points.
Do what?
Oh, you hit all the points.
Okay. Then I think that's gonna be it for today, guys. Cause I got to cover what I wanted to cover with it. I don't know what next week one will be, but I got an idea. Um, for what next week's thing's gonna be. Uh, gotta. I guess we could talk about it right now since we got a minute. Have you still haven't seen Death Note, right?
That's not one of
Dragon?
my shows I've thought about talking.
Then you
It's
wanna?
not a show that I've ever thought about like watching.
Well,
What? I mean, you guys are-
so I tell you one thing about Death Note right now. Death Note, the first 25 episodes of Death Note is the greatest anime ever written. The problem is that there's like 28 episodes. Actually, it might be 30.
I never been a. I never was a fan of like the whole like just the book thing. Like I'll write someone's name and they just die. It isn't like an
Yeah.
investigation type of scene.
Well, so what it is, it's a psychological thriller
Yeah,
about catching a serial killer. It's 37
yeah,
episodes. But yeah, that's what it is. It's a psychological horror, or not horror, but thriller. It has horror elements about a a guy becoming a serial killer because he thinks he's better for the world than everybody else. But sounds like we got it figured out. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We hope that everyone had a good one. Um, we'll see y'all next week with the Death Note episode. Thanks again. Hope everyone has a good weekend. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Um, have a good 4th. That's Friday. Before I forget about that, for all of our American viewers. And thanks again. It's Corrupted.
okay.
Signing off. Deuces, everybody.
Deuce, deuce.